Hello everybody, this is Sandra, and today I'm canning, well you can't really tell, but these are pinto beans, okay? Now, let me tell you what I've done so far. I have washed the pinto beans several times, because you know, beans coming out of the garden, you don't know what's in this stuff. Wash them several times, okay? And then I let them soak in water overnight. Okay. After they soaked overnight, I rinsed off the water, put some more water in, and then put the pot on the stove to heat up because I'm doing hot packing. So normally, okay, the way I grew up, well, my mom, she never did really soak her beans. But after what I've seen today, I will be soaking my beans, I think, from now on. Because when I let this boil, I saw all the foam coming up. Of course, I scraped all that off, okay? All that foam is the gassy substance that normally be in beans. I kind of don't want that in my body, nor do I want it in my family's body, okay? So anyway, so I get all that off. My beans are hot. And also next to it, I've been canning broth this morning. My chicken broth, chicken and vegetable broth. So I'm going to put broth in my beans. Add flavor. Okay? So you're going to get your hot jars. Now I can't put it in quart size jars, but I'm using pint size jars. Because I think pint size jars would do better for my family. And I already have my pressure canner ready. Okay. It's already simmering on the stove. I with some with 3 quarts of water in it. Because you know, you like I said, hot, I'm hot. Okay. Now, with the beans, then I can use water instead of broth, but I want the extra seasoning. And most people, when they teach you to do it, they tell you to use, they teach you to use just water. Okay, so there's my cup of beans, 1 cup to a pint size. If you're using quart size jars, then you need to use 1 3/4 cup to the quart size. Okay, so there's my beans in there. Because we know with beans, even though they've expanded already because I soaked them overnight, they're going to expand again. And it depends also how packed you want your beans in your jar. And we're leaving 1 inch head space, which means I'm going to fill it to the bottom rim. This bottom rim down here. Okay. And because I have solids in my jar, you want to debubble. Just mix the beans around a little bit. And when you debubble, sometimes you may have to add a little bit more liquid to your jar. But in this case, it looks like I'm okay. And then use your paper napkin or clean towel, whichever one you want to use. Dip them in some vinegar and wipe your rim. Purpose of wiping off your rim because you don't want anything to come in the middle between the bun of your lid and the top of your jar, because you want good adhesion. Some people just use water, but I like to use vinegar because vinegar is good at cutting fat. Oh, let me say this. When you put your lid on, you know, you just sit your lid up here, then add your ring. When you put your ring on, make sure you just gently turn it, and then once it won't turn anymore, just turn just a little bit more. Maybe about, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch. I don't know. That might be too much. because you want the lid to be able to, you want the lid to be on here tight enough so that the lid will stay put, but you want the ring loose enough so that gas can escape. Okay, so this is our first jar. Like I said, it looks like it's mostly liquid, which it is at this point. But y'all know these beans are going to expand. But the thing of it is, with beans, you don't know how much they're going to expand. So, make sure you give them enough room. Get another hot jar. Get my beans. Because you know, in the ball book of canning, it just tells you to leave 1 inch headspace. It doesn't tell you about the ratio of beans. Because see, I've learned in canning other things, you know, you might have more beans in one jar than you do in the other. I'm like, okay, I need somebody to give me some numbers. But I've always been that type of cook. When I was young, my mom told me, well, Sandra, you know, do this or whatever. No, cook whatever. And I told her, well, how much do I put in there? And she's like, well, I really don't know, because, you know, old cooks, they just knew, okay, how much they want in there by sight or smell or whatever. But see, when I came along, I'm like, no, I said, Mother, you need to give me some numbers. So she learned, in order to teach me, she had to give me some numbers. So when it comes to this stuff, I have to have numbers. So that's why I need to know, put a little bit more liquid in, I need to know that it's 1 cup of beans to a pint. But really that's an estimate. It depends on how much liquid and beans you want. Some people want their beans to be tightly packed when all said and done. Because even after this process, these beans are going to still keep expanding, like I said. And then some people like to see a lot of liquid. You know, well, not a lot, but still see that there's some liquid in there. So this is really a test run for me to see how I really want mine. Even after this process, like I said, still the beans are going to expand. When they're on the shelf, days, weeks, months later, they may still be expanding. And it's not just pinto beans, it's any type of beans that you might get. All of them are capable of doing that. But anyway, I will be back after I have all my beans canned. Anyway, in a minute. Okay, y'all, here are my pinto beans. You know, some of them I had put a little bit more in than others, but the one in the middle, that's a half cup, and that one's just a little bit more. But they're going to expand even more because I'm trying to use up my beans on it. So some of they all have at least 1 cup of beans. And you see some of the beans are split. I'm fine with it. Okay? And it's still bubbling. But the beans in the broth, I had to process, because of the beans, 40 minutes in the pressure cooker. Not water bath, pressure cooker, okay? So anyway, I'll see y'all next time.